Hello, and welcome to BorderConnect's virtual workshop on our ACI eManifest software. In this workshop, we'll be joined by BorderConnect account managers, Egzon Muriqi and Justin Guerard, as they guide you through how to register for ACI with BorderConnect, show you a detailed walkthrough of creating and submitting an ACI eManifest, as well as some additional items such as additional software features that may be advantageous and helpful along the way. We'll also show you some other training resources, common shipment types used in ACI, and much more. I'm Justin Knowlton, a marketing coordinator here at BorderConnect, and I'll be your host as we guide you through the workshop. Advanced Commercial Information, ACI for short, is Canada Border Services Agency eManifest program, and it's intended to provide customs officers with electronic pre-arrival information for highway carriers, and it involves electronically submitting eManifest data through CBSA's portal or with a service provider such as BorderConnect, at least 1 hour before the driver arrives at the border. The ACI program was launched in 2011 and became mandatory in 2016, where all carriers had to transmit their conveyance and shipment information electronically with CBSA. Failure to do so, unfortunately, could result in a monetary penalty issued by CBSA. BorderConnect became one of the first ACI eManifest service providers to launch their own ACI eManifest solution in 2011, providing customers with the familiarity and user-friendliness that they were used to with our ACManifest software. So from here, I'll pivot to Egzon, who will explain the differences between the Automated Commercial Environment, ACE, for the United States, and the Advanced Commercial Information Program, ACI, for Canada. So take it away, Egzon. Thank you.
Hey, Justin, it's great to be back. I always love doing these with you guys. So pretty much the first thing is ACE and ACI eManifesting. There's two differences. ACI, as just mentioned, is for going into Canada from the US. ACE is from Canada into the US. So pretty much those are the main differences. We always recommend whenever a carrier is hauling freight into the US, into Canada, to make sure that they confirm a few things. Make sure that the shipment that they're using, if it needs to get cleared, they deal with the customs broker. If it doesn't have to get cleared, they have to confirm the shipment type. So there's important things that you have to confirm on that. You have to confirm if you need an ACE, an ACI, where are you going? Where's the product shipping? If you need a customs broker, and if you don't need a customs broker, then you can just create the manifest and cross, usually without a customs broker's transaction number. But if you do need a broker, then you would have to deal or work with either a Canadian broker or a US broker. So basically, you have to confirm if you're going to Canada, you need a Canadian broker. If you're going to the US, you need a US broker. And the final thing is whenever the driver crosses the border, we always recommend having a copy of that lead sheet. Just because it's always a good, it's good to have that copy just because the officers may need that. Sometimes they may not, but we always recommend having a copy, like a hard copy of the lead sheet whenever the driver is crossing the border.
Thank you very much, Egzon, and appreciate the information. So who needs to file an ACI eManifest?
So basically, importers and inbound carriers should file the manifest. So basically, when it comes to the modes of transports, it doesn't really matter. If you're a highway carrier, you need to file a manifest. If you're an ocean carrier, manifest. Air carrier, manifest. So basically, importers and inbound carriers should file the manifest. And as I mentioned, the mode of transport does not matter. But with BorderConnect, we can offer your highway eManifesting services. So,
Great. Okay. So that covers pretty much all the modes of transportation.
yes. Yep.
So BorderConnect is primarily only for highway carriers, right?
Yes, BorderConnect, we deal with highway carriers, but they're, if you're an ocean carrier or an air carrier, then you would have to deal with a service provider that works for those. Yes, yeah.
Which I believe we have information on. Yeah.
Yes, we can definitely direct carriers to the necessary parties that can help them. Yes, yeah.
Great. Thanks. So Justin, how can someone register for ACI with BorderConnect, and what's needed to register?
Excuse me. Thanks, Justin. How to register, pretty simple. If you watched any of these videos in the past, you're going to already know. You just navigate to borderconnect.com. There's a sign up now tab right there on the top. When you click on that page, you're going to be brought to our online registration page. Only takes a minute or two to complete. You're just going to fill in all the company details, a little bit of contact info. You create a username and a password for yourself. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Once you click the finish registration button, there's an email that gets sent to you just to verify the email. You click the verify link, and then you're ready to log in and create manifest right away.
Great. Now, did we want to show them what the registration page looks like, just so we know it's not overly complex?
Yeah, of
Really
course.
simple to do.
Give me 1 second here. You should see it just now. So this is the BorderConnect homepage. If you Google us, you'll get right sent to here. You'll see sign up now. I'll click on that, and then right away you just start typing in company information, company name. My keyboard doesn't work. There we go. That was weird. Demo Logistics Inc. 1ABC. We'll call our carrier code, SCAT code ABCD, promo code Easy ACI for an extra 15 days of the free trial.
Actually, I have a promo code at the end that they can use. Yeah.
Is it going to be that? Sorry.
It's going to be Easy 45.
Okay. We'll change it then.
Little sneak peek for those watching at home.
Okay. Easy 45. And company address.
Address is pretty straightforward. Yeah.
Yep. Address, you just fill it all in there. First name, last name, title, email address.
And then user account.
Create a username and a password. And yeah, just click the button to finish registration. And once you click that, that's when you're going to get that email sent to you just to verify, and can log in moments later.
Great. So that basically covers, I guess, most of the registration questions there. So what does the email look like? Is there any documentation that they need to forward to us?
So the first email you get just to access to the BorderConnect software, it'll just be a verify, click this link and you're able to log in. If you are a new carrier that hasn't used this before, or maybe you just registered for a new carrier code, you'll also need to sign a couple of documents, just basically saying you, the carrier, allows BorderConnect to act as a service provider. And what that is, we send you these documents pre-filled with all the information, and once again, only takes a minute or two to complete. You're pretty much just putting your name, signature on the document and sending it back to our team here. But yeah, on the ACI side, there's a couple documents, if you're brand new, that will come after that verification email as well.
Okay, pretty straightforward.
Yep.
All right, thanks, Justin. So Egzon, if you're a highway carrier, what information do you need to know to help you get started and prepare accordingly to use ACI eManifest? I guess specifically with BorderConnect.
Yes, perfect. So if you're a highway carrier looking to start processing your manifests, the main thing is you want to make sure that you have a Canadian carrier code. If you don't have a Canadian carrier code, you can't, process your ACI manifest. A Canadian carrier code is just an alphanumeric number that provides CBSA with your company information, your company name, your address, all that information is within that Canadian carrier code. You also need to make sure that you have, they're called running authorities, but Canadian provincial authorities in place. So if you're planning on hauling freight into Canada, you want to make sure that you have your authorities in place. Make sure that you can haul freight into Ontario, or if you go into a different province, you have to confirm that. But per our understanding is once you get the running authorities for Ontario, then you should be able to haul freight for all the provinces and in Canada. So that's primarily the main things that you want to make sure that you have. You have your running authorities, you have your Canadian carrier code, and you also have your PARS labels. So with PARS labels, you can get the shipments cleared using a customs broker. Customs brokers usually require a PARS label, and we can definitely help you on acquiring PARS labels. And I'm going to actually show you our DIY consulting. Our DIY consulting does a great job at actually walking carriers through the whole process. So if you're a new carrier looking to start up, you can go to our DIY consulting, and it kind of walks you through the whole process. Let me just share my screen really quick here. So once you go to BorderConnect.com, you'll see support. If you click on support, you'll see DIY Customs Consulting. Once you click on DIY Customs Consulting, you'll see that it says learn how to cross commercially to the US and Canada. So it kind of helps you both ways. So if you go into Canada, you can learn about that. If you go into the US, you can learn about that. But it kind of goes through the whole process. What are the steps needed to complete to start crossing into Canada as a US-based carrier? What is a CVR? So it walks you the whole process. So if you go here, you'll be able to see right here. So it's a great tool if you're not quite sure, like if you're thinking of opening up a company, but you don't know if you can cross, you don't know what you need. This page here just walks you through the whole process. And if you have any questions, you can always email or call our support team, and we can always do our best to help you in that regard.
Wow, helpful resources there, especially if you're a new carrier. I mean, going to that page, you can basically, learn from the very beginning all the way to
Yeah.
potentially becoming a trusted traveler or a trusted trader.
Yep. Yep. Walks you through the whole process. I actually wanted to go through a few more things here. So the main thing is when it comes to, how long can you cross, how long do you have to wait to cross into Canada, things like that. Canada Customs has a 1 hour wait rule for highway carriers. So once you're ready and you have the manifest processed and you're looking to cross into Canada, whenever you create a manifest, you always have to wait 1 hour per CBSA guidelines. So CBSA has these guidelines just because they have to confirm all the information that's being processed over. They don't want carriers just to create a manifest and show up right away, just because they need some time to review all that information that's crossing into Canada. And I'm actually going to show my screen one more time here to quickly show you their website, just so you guys can kind of gather some more information. So CBSA has a website where if you go here, you'll be able to see requirements by client type. So timeframes, this is for air carriers, freight forwarders, highway carriers, marine carriers, so all these carriers, but highway carriers 1 hour, as I mentioned. So you have to wait 1 hour before you actually, proceed to CBSA. And that goes through all of that and gives you more information. So if you're ever wondering, how long do I have to wait, you can always go here.
Great. Helpful resources for sure.
Yep.
So is ACI required for empty loads though? That maybe a commercial carrier is crossing, but they don't have any commercial loads?
ACI is not technically required. We recommend carriers having one just in case, empty ACI just in case. Just because sometimes you'll have officers that request it, like, hey, where's your empty ACI? And if you don't have that, then it's a big headache. You have to create one or they'll turn you around. So we always recommend, even if you're empty, process an empty ACI manifest, and it'll just make your life a lot more smoother crossing the border.
Gotcha. So you don't have to do it. However, it probably will make your border crossing experience a
Yes.
lot more efficient.
Yeah, officer's discretion, pretty much that's what you advise, and it's always good just to have it. Yeah.
Great. So I guess that leads me to another question I had. So what shipment release types are required for an ACI eManifest? And are there any scenarios where perhaps an ACI does not have to be submitted?
So there's actually a lot of shipment types that are required for ACI manifest. So basically, most like PARs, N bonds, free of duty personal shipments, automotive line releases, those sort of shipment types are required. The only one that's not required for an ACI shipment is called a hand carry shipment. And what happens there is a customs broker, they do up the hand carry document, and you don't need a manifest. The manifest is exempt. So basically, if you ever have that scenario where, I have a hand carry, you're going to be working with a customs broker. The customs broker will file the hand carried package, it's called, and that's how you would cross the border. And you don't need a manifest. That's the only shipment that doesn't require a manifest. It's a hand carry.
Okay, great. So you basically assume that you're going to be doing an ACI manifest, no matter the scenario.
Yes, and I'm going to just quickly just share my screen here, and I'll show you the different shipment types, and you'll understand what I'm kind of saying here. So you'll see CBSA shipment types for ACE Manifest. All of these are needed, and these are pretty much the main ones. Then you have cargo exemptions. Cargo exemptions are just different exemptions. If you're hauling, let's say, empty racks, if you're going in transit through Canada into the US. Our wiki page does a great job. I know we've mentioned it before in our webinars, but if you ever wanted to learn more, right here is the best place, and this kind of goes through all the shipment types. So basically, if you're doing any of these shipment types, you need a manifest. The only thing is if you're doing hand carry, you don't. And PARs and bonds are pretty much the most common ones, in my opinion. So
yeah, we see those quite frequently here at BorderConnect.
Yep.
Okay, great. All right, so let's get into the meat and potatoes of this workshop. Justin, would you want to show us how to create an ACI eManifest in BorderConnect?
Absolutely. Okay, let's share this screen again. You should see my screen. It should show both the invoice on the left and BorderConnect on the right. Do you guys see that there? Okay, awesome. So yeah, if you logged into BorderConnect, this is basically just a demo account, but this is what you'd see, a nice little usage graph of your past months. If you scroll down some quick start buttons, how to navigate, you'll see ACE, ACI, manage company data. So these are here in the homepage when you log in, but also at the top, you'll see navigation tabs. These are always here, always whatever you need them, you click on them, they're always going to be there. So if I was just in the terms of, hey, let's make an ACI, it's my first time, what a new carrier may want to do first is go to the Manage Data tab and maybe add some drivers, trucks, trailers. So if you click this Manage Data tab, you'll see there's different fields for everything that we store to save you time after you've created one. So you don't have to put in all those little details every time. You don't have to put in the license, the passport, the VIN number, all that jazz every single time, just once, and then we save it for the next time. So we'll quickly run through creating a driver. You'll see on this page here, first name, put Andy Anderson, of course. Gonna go through male, date of birth. We'll just say the 24th, change the year, and let's call him Canadian. You'll see Fast ID here. A lot of carriers, if they're part of the Fast program, will have a Fast card with this specific Fast ID. If they had that, you could put in the 427 or 4211 number and whatever those digits are. But for this, we'll pretend that he doesn't have it and continue on with the other travel documents, the license, and the other one. 90% of the time, this is going to be a passport. But when you're creating a driver, you're always creating a license number, and then a secondary document is always needed. So I'm just going to put the license, select the license type, and the state or province. And then once I have the license info, I'm going to move on to the secondary travel document, which, like I said, most of the time is going to be the passport. So I'm just going to put this number here, and you'll see all the different accepted other travel documents in this list. But like I said, most of the time, you're just going to use passport. Most people are going to have this passport. And yeah, you just put it in there. So that's all the information we need for the driver. If you scroll down a little bit, you'll see some email notification options. I think Egzon may touch on this in a little bit, but if you wanted to add updates for the driver, this would be the field where you could do that. So I'll leave that for Egzon for now, but let me just save Andy here, and then we can see all of his information saved as a profile. Similar school of thought is with the trucks and the trailers. I already have some here in the demo account, but when you search them, you can see all the list of different profiles we have in this account. And basically, if I ever needed to manage, edit, oh, maybe this is a different plate number, I could just come into this specific profile, edit the truck, and just change the license plate to whatever it needs to be, or etc. So it makes managing your data super easy. And then the even nicer thing about it is when you go to create the manifest, it saves you a lot of time because all these details are already in there. So yeah, that's basically how you manage the data. Let's just jump into the manifest now. So I'm going to navigate to the ACI eManifest tab. I'm just going to start a new ACI eManifest and start putting in all the information. So the first thing it's going to ask me for is the trip number. This is something that a carrier creates themselves. It's just an arbitrary unique number that identifies this crossing. It's going to be a unique number for today's crossing, for tomorrow's, just a different number, basically. The simplest thing is a simple series 00001, and then tomorrow's is 2, 3, 4. Some people, when they don't cross often, will like to use the date, or maybe do something where it relates to the PARS number, where it's instead of PARS 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's trip 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So any of those really work as long as it's a unique number. We'll leave it at that. And then you'll just kind of enter the fields as they come in. First Canadian port of entry. Let's say we're crossing Windsor here, so I can put in the port code, which it should filter it out. There it goes that time. And if I put in the port code, it's going to give me the specific ports. If I know the port code for the US side, but not the Canadian side, it'll filter that. And maybe I don't know the port codes at all, but I know the name of where I'm crossing. I can just type in Windsor, Detroit, and it's going to filter that for me. And I just select on the proper one. Sublocation warehouse. If I was delivering to a warehouse, I could put this info in, but we can just skip that, pretend that we're not. Estimated arrival date and time. Exactly what it sounds like. When do you think you're going to get to the border? By default, it just puts today plus around 2 hours. But if you needed to change it, you can just click on the date and a nice little calendar appears, and very easy to change to whatever time you think you're going to be crossing at. We'll just say the 29th at noon. Moving on to the truck, trailer, and driver. Basically, when I click on it, it's going to give me a list of all of the trucks that are in my account. And if I type in a specific truck number, it's going to filter it. Oops, wanted to do this one. And then I can just select it from the list. If I didn't have it in here, if it was a brand new truck, you'll see that it says no results found, and I can add a new truck. If I click this add new truck, those informations from the manage data tab, they're right here in a nice, quick, easy pop-up, and everything that's required, you just have to fill in the little pop-up. And basically, it's just that easy. You can add a driver, add a truck, add a trailer right on the fly, and it only takes a minute or two. But we're just going to use one of the ones we have in there. So we'll just take the first one from each. Same with trailer. We'll just take this one. And you'll see as I add the trucks and the trailers, there's these additional fields that appear below where you can actually add a seal or add an IIT or an exemption. Egzon touched on the IIT or exemption. Different specific exemptions that you would want to indicate these to CBSA, like, hey, I have empty dunnage on my trailer, or I have an in-transit load, but they don't require an actual shipment on the manifest. This is where you would do that. So fly-in truck, in-transit, IIT, those are definitely the most common ones. But if you had that, you would just click the button, pick whatever one's applicable for your load, and it's just that simple. Same with seal. Seal is just a lock for the trailer that makes sure nobody opens it from the point A to point B. If you had a seal, you should be reporting that to CBSA as well. So if I had the seal number 12345, I just click add seal, type it in there, and it's just that easy. Moving on to the driver, we're going to pick Andy Anderson, of course. We made him, so let's put him on here. And the same kind of fields appear when I add the driver. You can add a team driver or a passenger, and it works the exact same way as the trailer and truck options. So once you have all that data, you can save and start a new ACI shipment. When you mouse over this, you'll see the couple options appear where you can jump straight to the details page, or you can continue on with the normal flow where you would start the trip, then the shipment, then the commodity. So in this case, we're just going to do the normal flow, start the new ACI shipment. Brings you to a very similar looking page, but instead of the trip details, we're going to deal with all the shipment details this time. And this is where our invoice comes into play. So the shipment type, Egzon had mentioned a whole bunch of different shipment types. If I click this, we can see the drop down of all these different shipment types. But for this simple example, we're just going to keep it as a parse. Cargo control number. The first little section is all your different carrier codes. If you have more on your account than just your own, you can change this drop down to that. But we're going to leave it as our own demo logistics carrier code. And then from here, we just type in the rest of the parse number. So I'm just going to type 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Continuing on after that, the first Canadian port of entry and the release office are automatically filled in from our trip. On our trip, we said we're crossing Windsor Ambassador Bridge. So this automatically just takes that same information. Same with the ETA. This takes it from the trip, so we can skip all that. Same with the attached trip number. As you can see, it's making it very easy for us. We only have to enter very little information. When we get to the shipper now, this is where we start putting something in. So shipper, I'm going to see that it's coming from Orion Syndicate. I could type in Orion or the address 1405. Oh, it's not in here. We've never used this one before, so I'm going to add a new shipper. So in the name, oops, hit enter on accident. I'm going to put Orion Syndicate, address 1405 Fake Street or Fake Road, city, Chicago, and then Illinois, and the postal code 60602. I'm gonna get rid of that. Consignee, I'm assuming my consignee is not in here either, but we'll see. Our address isn't in here, so we'll quickly add Freddy's Funhouse as well. And then one. Oops. What did I do here? Oh, 4R1. All right, there we go. So we added the shipper, the consignee. The city of load-in automatically takes it from the shipper. City of acceptance is a very common question. Hey, what do I have to fill in for this field? What this is where your company accepted the load at. Most of the time, we're going to leave it blank because we, the carrier, picked it right up at the shipper. But if you have a load, say from like Miami, Florida, some other carrier drove it up to Toledo, Ohio for you, and you took over the load in Toledo, your city of load-in would be Miami, Florida, but the city of acceptance may be Toledo. So in this case, 9 times out of 10, most carriers are picking it up directly at the shipper. So we're just going to leave the city of acceptance blank. There's a few more options here if you have special unique freight, but we can just ignore those for now. And then I'm just going to continue on the flow, save and add commodity. And now we're going to talk about our actual shipment details. So description, I have a load of furnace boilers. I have 16 units, and this unit of measure, everything that CBSA accepts as a unit of measure is in this list, but whatever your invoice or bill of lading specifies, that's kind of what you want to go with. I'm just going to follow suit and just pick units and weight, and I have 42,500 pounds. Marks and numbers. If I expand this, the written description of the markings outside of the packaging. Some shipments may have some special instructions or markings that you would want to put here. It's not mandatory. You can leave this field blank. So I will in this case because I don't have anything special. And then hazmat material or hazmat details below. If this was a load of something hazmat, gas, jet fuel, whatever, the invoice would specify a hazmat code and handling instructions, which I would just take and translate it into BorderConnect here. But because it's not a hazmat load, I'm just going to leave it blank and just save and back to ACI manifest. And that is pretty much it. At this point, our manifest is complete. We have all of our information. We're basically on a summary page where we can see all of the details of the load. From here, the last step is sending it to customs, syncing with CBSA. I would just click this button. Because this is a demo account, I can't do that here. But yeah, you just click the sync button and that will send our manifest, all of our data to customs. And I guess the last thing you'd want to do before that is printing off a copy for your driver to have. So these buttons along the top print, I can just print a standard driver's copy. And this paper copy is exactly what I would hand to the border agent as I cross the border.
It's very fitting, Justin, how we have, I mean, we're launching this close to Halloween. And we have the consignee as Freddy's Funhouse on Elm Street with furnace boilers. So it's fitting, very fitting.
Definitely.
Yeah. I'm wondering, Justin, would you be able to bring up a list of different statuses that our ACI eManifest software does show?
Yes. So I could get it through the wiki if you give me 1 second. Sorry, I did not have this one prepared. Okay, so on this page here, is basically after you send the manifest, these color-coded bars are going to be the statuses you would see when you transmit the manifest. So when we create it right now, our first status right now is just a draft. When we send it, it's going to be 2 yellow bars. It's going to be transmitted to customs. After it gets transmitted, the next step typically is this 3 blue bars where it says on file with CBSA. That means our manifest, our part is accepted. The next step before you want to cross those, ideally, there's 4 green bars on file with transaction numbers. This is where I always say green is good, green means go. That's what you want to see before you send your driver, because those transaction numbers, Egzon touched on it before, a customs broker is involved with the actual duties, taxes, the clearance of the goods. So that you want both parts on file, the manifest, which is the BorderConnect side, and then the transaction numbers, which is the customs broker side. You want both of those on file before you actually head to the border. So the 4 green bars, the green is good, green means go. This status right here is what you want to see before you actually send your driver to the border. But yeah, on our wiki page here, you can see all of these different statuses as well as a written description of each status. Continuing on past the normal, once it's on file, you see arrived at border, and then released would typically be the next step. Maybe if you have an error for some reason, the officer would reject it after arrival, or maybe you had to cancel it. They're pretty intuitive, pretty simple to use. But yeah, our system does a great job kind of showing you exactly what the status is, and the color-coded bars makes it very easy at a quick glance to see what manifests are accepted, what manifests need more attention, and maybe if it's been blue bars for a while, maybe what manifest do I need to call the customs broker about and see, hey, why isn't this cleared yet?
Yeah, great. Super intuitive there. So you can just have a quick glance basically at your listing page and you'll be able to see what's going on.
Yeah,
Or
exactly.
check the information to see more detailed information.
Um,
Um,
so so if you don't
yeah, go
mind,
ahead.
I just want to show a couple more just nice features about the ACI interface that do a good job kind of holding your hand to make sure that you don't make any simple mistakes.
Oh,
Um,
great. Yeah.
one of those things may be in the shipment description. There's a bunch of commodity descriptions. A lot of carriers may have picked up freight of all kind, or auto parts, or appliances. CBSA wants you to be more descriptive than that, than just a general, very vague description. They want to see the manifest and say, oh, I know exactly what that is. That's furnace boilers. But if I put a description like auto parts, for example, and tried to save it, our system actually doesn't even let you save that anymore, because if you arrive at the border with this description or a similar description where it's super vague, doesn't really say anything about the goods themselves, CBSA can fine you because it's not an acceptable description. In this error, you'll see description is unacceptable. Please refer to the guidelines. If I click that link, it'll take me directly to CBSA's website, where it'll give me some examples of what this ruling is, and then how you may add to your description to make it acceptable. So instead of auto parts, maybe I put auto filters, brakes, windshield, maybe seat-in parts. Same with appliances. Instead of saying I have appliances, I have stoves, ovens, refrigerators. Just being more specific. It's not asking you to be crazy specific. We don't need the model number, the exact serial number of everything you send us, but a better description than I have freight of all kinds. I have goods. Customs wants to know what you're hauling, and that's what this is helping with. Some other nice features, I'm just going to basically quickly go to some live data and show a pretty good example of these color-coded bars. This is just like a company's manifest. We can quickly see from the bars without even going into the manifest, looking at the history, that this manifest has arrived, this one's released, it's already crossed. These two manifests, they've been accepted, but they don't have their entry numbers from the broker. And this manifest here, 4 green bars, this one basically is good to go, except you'll see this prior notice requirement, 16 minutes remaining. Egzon had touched on it before, is again where manifest customs wants everything on file at least an hour before your driver arrives, and our system does a good job informing you of that. Well, I'm not going to remember. I had 20 manifests to do. I don't know exactly when I sent this one and when I sent that one. You'll see this manifest here. I'm just going to click into it quickly. There's a notice at the top that says prior notice requirement fulfilled. The 1 hour wait has already happened for this manifest. But these other manifests ahead of it, well, we're counting down the minutes. If you notice, before it said 16 minutes, now it says 15 minutes. This manifest here, in 15 minutes, this one's going to be able to cross. This prior notice fulfillment will happen after the 1 hour has been sent. So things like that, and there's tons more that I can't just all throughout the software, that where we do our best to make sure we prevent any silly mistakes, any possible fines for the carrier, and really make sure that your manifest is as accurate and as compliant as possible.
So BorderConnect software is staying true to form and minimizing risk wherever we can.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's great. All right, so let's move on. Let's continue to stay in the software though, because I know there's other helpful features that customers should be aware of, or potential customers. So Egzon, I guess I'll ask you this. Are there, with ACI, if you're using ACI, are there any other helpful software features that people should be using when they're processing ACI manifests with BorderConnect?
Yes, yes, there is. Give me one moment. Let me just share my screen, and I'll kind of go over those things, those features. Just give me 1 sec. Okay, so the first thing is I'm going to just touch on the driver notifications. I know Justin went over that a little bit. So I'm just going to go over quickly through a driver here. And I'll just click on Andy Anderson again. So if I go down here, you'll be able to see that if I click on edit, you'll be able to see that there's email notifications and cell phone notifications. And you'll see ACI on file, ACI on file, PARS update, PAPS update, all that. So basically what this means is that once the driver is cleared or once the manifest has been cleared, the driver can receive notifications via email or text message. So let's assume you wanted your driver to receive both. So you would just put their email at fakeemail.com, and then you would select PARS update and PAPS update. I always recommend doing PARS and PAPS updates. ACI on file, ACI on file. That's fine. I mean, that just means that the driver's going to receive notification when a manifest has been accepted from CBSA or CBP. But PARS update and PAPS update will advise the driver of the load being cleared. So the custom broker has cleared the load, the driver can cross the border. If you would like ACI on file, ACI on file, you can totally do that. It's really a driver preference. And then you can do the same thing for your cell phone. So you can just add the cell phone, and then you can add their carrier. The cell phone carrier, let's do AT&T, PARS update, and PAPS update. So this is how you would set up your driver notification options. There's also a new feature that we implemented a couple weeks ago, which is detailed driver's copy. So the driver can receive a detailed driver's copy once the manifest has been accepted. So there's two different I guess copies or versions, if you want to call it, of the lead sheet. There's a detailed and there's a standard. So the detailed has more information. That's why sometimes the driver will want to receive it right away. So you click on detailed driver's copy, and then the driver will receive that right away once the manifest has been accepted. And you can add two emails, primary, secondary. Usually it's the driver's email right here, dispatcher's email right here. And then if you wanted to add, cell phones to two numbers, usually sometimes drivers have two numbers. They have a Canadian and a US number. So you can add them right over here, and they'll receive notifications once the load's cleared. Now I want to go back to the ACI manifest that Justin created. So I'll click on here. Where's Andy Anderson? There it is. So there's a great tool. If you ever wanted to track a manifest, let's say you're creating a bunch of manifests, you're busy, but you have to track a certain manifest just to make sure that, the information's correct, or you have to change something, you have to go back to it. You can always track a manifest. You can go right here and you can click on track manifest, track eManifest, and you can put track manifest with a note like, hey, I want to track this manifest regarding a PARS, or if you click on track manifest right here, just give me 1 sec. Now we're tracking this particular manifest. If I wanted to stop tracking it, I would just click on untrack. So that just means that, as I explained, if you want to make sure that this load crosses on time, or if you're kind of worried, or so whatever may be happening with a particular manifest, you can always track it, then you can untrack it.
Oh, that's handy. So Egzon, how would the customer be notified exactly? Like, how will they be notified if they're, let's say, not in BorderConnect, as opposed to being in BorderConnect? If there's an update on their manifest, how would they be notified exactly?
So basically they'll be notified via email, and if they're in BorderConnect, let's assume they were tracking this particular manifest, they would see right at the top right corner, they'll see a little bit of a recent track, and they'll see a star with that particular trip number. So that's where they can receive notifications like, oh, there's an update, and they would just click on that, and then it would take them over to their manifest. And that's where they would see, whatever's going on with the manifest, if it's accepted or whatever it may be, from right there. So basically, all the recent track, you'll be able to see all of them right over here on the right
Okay.
corner. Yep.
So they can keep tabs on manifests if they're either not in BorderConnect or working on another manifest. They'll be
exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. And
so you can't miss it.
Yes, exactly. And I just wanted to kind of just touch on the lead sheet really quick. So if you go to print, as I mentioned, there's a standard driver's copy and a detailed driver's copy. With the notification options, if you clicked on detailed driver's copy, the driver will receive a detailed driver's copy right away. So basically, once the manifest is on file, they'll receive a detailed, and the detailed has more information. It has the shipment details, things like that. Whereas a standard just has more of a simplified version, and both of them work. It's totally fine, but some carriers like to have a bit more details on the manifest there on their lead sheet. And that's pretty much the two differences. Full driver's copies are just they're just more paperwork, pretty much. It has the shipper, consignee, all that information. If you ever needed this, you can always print it. But the most common one is either a standard or a detailed driver's copy. Pivoting from the detailed and standard lead sheets, you can also create your own lead sheets for drivers. So let's assume you have a driver that's in Texas, they have no way to get a manifest. You can always create a manifest or a lead sheet for them. And when you create a manifest, you would just use the trip number that they give you from that particular lead sheet. And it's very easy to do that. So if you go to manage data, at the bottom, you'll see ACE and ACI data. They're pretty much the same. So we're working on ACI. So you'll click on ACE facts, ACI facts. From here, you can create your cover sheet. So if you click on create ACI cover sheet, it's very straightforward. You'll have your carrier code, your trip number prefix. It's an optional. The prefix is an optional field, but if you want it, you put like Egzon or something here. Then you can put like 0, 1, 10. Trip number, it's optional. We'll keep that alone. And if you wanted to add a truck, a trailer, a driver, you can. This is just, I mean, usually some carriers just leave those blank. The driver can just handwrite it on there. But if you have a dedicated driver, you have Egzon that always drives truck one. He owns the trailer. You can always add the truck, the trailer, the driver, and then there's a team driver right there. You can add a port of entry. So if the driver always crosses at one port of entry, you can add it. And then sublocation warehouses, if they're going to a bonded warehouse in Canada, you can add the sublocation warehouse. Usually, what we always advise is add the carrier code because that's what you need. You need the trip range. You don't even need a trip number prefix, but some people like to have it. Like they would do like trip, let's say, and then 0, 1, and they can have multiple trips. And then all these other data elements. I mean, you can add it there, but if you don't have to, usually it's the safest way, just because sometimes maybe if there's a truck breakdown, then you can it's easier to change the truck. They can just handwrite it. Whereas they will probably require a new manifest, like send me a new copy of manifest. This is how you would do it. And then you can add the cover sheet footer. You can have an example. You can add a phone number, you can add a fax number and a logo if you like. Usually people just add the carrier codes, the trip number, and they save it. That's pretty much it. And now if I go here, I can go here and I should be able to just print the manifest right over here. And this is what you would, or lead sheets, and this is what you would give to your driver. And then when the driver gets loaded, wherever they're getting loaded, they would just give you this trip number. You would create the manifest under that particular trip number, and they would just handwrite all their information. And then when the load's cleared and they receive notifications, as we just spoke about, the drivers can add their cargo control number. They can just write down the transaction number right here. And then when they get to the border, the officer will just scan the lead sheet right here. And that's where you would create your cover sheets. And as you can see, there's multiple ones that we've created before. And you can also create your ACE cover sheets. Same idea, same thing, right over here. You can also
that's awesome.
Yeah, and you can also, sorry, Justin, you can also do a blank ACI manifest. So sometimes you'll have a driver that's like, just give me a blank one, I'll fill it out, I know what I'm doing, I'll send you the paper information. You can also do that. But we always recommend just doing this. This is the easiest way, and it's easier to keep track of the lead sheets, drivers, things like that. So,
okay, great. Yeah, and barcodes are required. So,
yes,
at the Canadian Port of Entry. So it's good to have at least like
something
a stack of them in the truck, especially if your operation works that way.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, awesome, helpful features indeed. I guess we'll see if there's any more. We'll dig a little deeper into BorderConnect and see if there's any more additional features that maybe customers should also be using with ACI and maybe perhaps essential for shipment visibility or for company data management.
Yeah,
so I'll go to you with that. Yeah, Justin.
Awesome. I definitely want to share a couple things here. If you watched our previous video on RNS, that's the first thing I want to touch on. Basically, RNS, or release notification system, that's how we're able to pull all these transaction numbers from Canada Customs. We don't directly talk to Livingston or FedEx or Faro, and they don't say, oh, here's the entry number. Canada Customs is the ones who tell us that, right? And in our previous video on RNS, we kind of go into detail on how that works, but it's super helpful in ACI. because of the same reasons. If you have a shipment that should be cleared, that's not cleared, the only thing we can really do is ask customs, hey, what is the status of this? So moving outside of the ACI manifest into the PARS, into the RNS system, we're able to actually send a status query on a specific PARS number, or somewhat new, even a transaction number. We're able to send these status queries directly as customs, hey, what is the current status of this PARS number? And then whatever the response is gives us a little bit more detail that either may conflict with what the broker says, or maybe provide us more context into why it's not accepted yet. So this carrier I'm looking at right now, they've sent a couple in the past week or so. And this first one here, this cargo control number, error returned, not on file. This basically means, hey, the broker has not sent anything to customs yet. These shipment releases, obviously, those ones are saying customs is saying these shipments already crossed. And that declaration accepted, this is the bread and butter. This is what we look for. This is what powers our manifest to go green. When we get these RNS messages that say declaration accepted, that means that entry number is there, the transaction number from the broker. And that's what we want to see. So in the terms of if you ever have a shipment you're not sure of, why is it not cleared, send in a status query on it. Type it in the parse number, putting it in, and directly asking customs, hey, what is the status of this? Gives a lot of insight, and it's a great troubleshooting tool to figure out what's actually happening with something that should be cleared. I mentioned the transaction number status query. That's super helpful too, because I'm sure every carrier has gone through it where the broker says, no, it's cleared. Here's your transaction number. When that's happening and your manifest isn't linking up, we'll pretend this is the transaction number one, but when you click on it, you're able to see the details of that RNS message, so to speak. And in it, it'll say a specific parse number. And in those scenarios where the broker says it's cleared, they've given you a transaction number, and for whatever reason the manifest isn't linking, 9 times out of 10, this cargo control number is just wrong. Maybe they've miskeyed it. Maybe we've miskeyed it. But it's very black and white. It's very easy to see where the issue is with these RNS status queries. So definitely my number one. If you're going to have ACI, I always recommend having RNS as well. It's only going to supplement the tool. There's no extra fee. It's something we try to do as soon as you get registered, because it's only a good thing to have. So RNS, that's number one in my books of an extra feature that is super useful. In addition, a fairly new feature is a compliance report. If you go to your ACI manifest tab and search ACI manifest, you can actually generate compliance reports, which talk about basically if you have late arrivals, good manifest, maybe if you have an early arrival, basically not arriving after that 1 hour, but instead arriving 30, 20 minutes, whatever. Maybe if you're being audited, or if you needed to look at how your operations are running, this feature kind of helps with that. I'll click on one that Justin generated here, probably just as an example. Over the year, this company had nearly 300 good manifests that arrived at a good time. They had around 100 that the ETA should have been updated on. And then they even had 18 that they arrived before the prior notice. So this one is definitely like a red flag. You'd want to correct that in your processes going forward. This one, I've never seen CBSA be upset about a late ETA, but they do have it in their rule books. It should be accurate. So if that is the case, if your manifest is over 8 hours and your driver hasn't arrived, we do recommend that you update the ETA and just send an update. But this tool here really lets you see, visualize where your manifests are going good, and maybe some specific ones that maybe the processes need to be adjusted a little bit to be a little bit more compliant. And then another just kind of general feature about the software, a lot of companies ask, how many users can I have on the software? How do I add users? How do I manage? This account tab, every user is going to be able to go in here, and the super users are able to see the manage users tab, where you can actually create individual user accounts for your carrier. We always recommend that every person who's going to be part of the team, who's going to be logging in, has their own user, because when you do the manifest, the updates, the sends, the edits, there are timestamps and histories based on, oh, Egzon did this, Justin did that. It's very easy to see who did what, and everyone having their own user really makes it easier to understand and know mysteries happen with who changed this, why did this get canceled. So we always recommend just have as many users as you have employees that are going to be using the tool, and basically you would just go to account, manage users, and either add, edit, however it's needed. And on the same train of thought, a lot of carriers will often haul loads for different carriers. Maybe Egzon Transport is given Justin a load. He's already has it cleared on his pars. So I want to add his carrier code. In the account company details page, you can actually add other carriers' carrier codes and add other carriers' scat codes to enable you the option to haul other loads for other carriers. The system itself is very robust. We kind of supply all kind of use cases. So and I would be shocked if it can't handle what you're looking for. And if it is something that you don't know if it can be done or not, definitely give our support team a call, and we'll walk you through how to do it if you're not too sure yourself.
Wow, robust. Yeah, easy to manage stuff in BorderConnect as well. So for those users, especially if they're hauling other carriers, it's really simple to add carrier codes, manage users. We do recommend that you do, like Justin mentioned, create a user for every employee. There are some companies that just have one simple login, but in that case, we've had support calls where, hey, how do I find out which one of my employees made this change or did this? And if they're using a user account that everyone uses, it's almost impossible to find out who made those changes. And so, Egzon, if a customer submits incorrect information on their ACI to CBSA, how do they go about fixing it and resending it to CBSA? And are there any common errors that customers do make that you can maybe perhaps show how to fix?
Yeah, definitely. The most common errors that we see here at BorderConnect are cargo control numbers. So carriers just, mistype in a number, or just, having a wrong parse number, things like that, like a sticker. Missing shipments. So let's say the carrier says, oh, no, I have one shipment. Then they get to the board and says, oh, actually you have five. So they're missing shipments. Pretty much incorrect fleet data. Your truck, your trailer might be wrong, or the information was correct, but then they changed the truck and the driver never communicated with the dispatcher, and now they have to change the truck. All of those issues are very easy to fix, very straightforward. So as Justin went over creating the manifest, the sync button, the sync does pretty much everything you need. So you can change your trip, you can change your cargo control number, you can change your truck and trailer and driver. Once you make all of those changes, you can just select sync, and sync will perform the necessary steps it needs on the back end to send over to CBSA for the updated information. So carriers don't really have to do anything special. They just have to go in there, make their necessary changes, change the cargo or change their truck, and all they have to do is hit sync, and that's it, nothing else. So we've pretty much, the team here at BorderConnect has developed an amazing tool or button, if you want to call it, that does everything on the back end. You don't have to send change. You don't have to send an amend. Like a couple years ago, you would have to send a change, an amend, and then we had carriers that would call in saying, they send the wrong button, they click on the wrong button. We would help them on that. But now we've implemented sync, and pretty much anything you change, you just click sync, and that's all you have to do, nothing else.
Yeah, definitely a revolutionary improvement to our software.
Yeah.
I remember that was back in the day, that was a significant portion of our support calls. It's just them the customer sending the wrong message, or they changed something they didn't mean to, or they forgot to send it. Whereas our system now, you just sync it, does all the heavy lifting in the back end, and knows what to do basically.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, with sync, once you make changes, right? Whenever you're making changes, let's say you change a truck or whatever it may be, you'll get a warning at the top of your manifest that says, sync. We suggest you should probably sync this. It won't pull your arm, but it will tell you that you have to do it because these are the changes that you've performed. So yeah, pretty much it's a great tool, and it helps carriers manage and make sure that the necessary information is being transmitted. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. So what about the DIY customers that are like, oh, I don't need to call. I would like to learn on my own. And Justin, I'll shoot it off to you for this question. Does BorderConnect have any training resources or tutorials or places they should probably bookmark if they are using BorderConnect?
Absolutely. Do it yourself. I'm always a huge fan of because I mean, you're going to save time instead of, don't get me wrong, our support team's great. We love helping you. But if you could fix the problem yourself, I mean, it's always going to be faster that way. So I'm just going to share my screen here. Of course, if you've watched these videos before, I'm sure you've seen it. We talk about it a lot. Our support wiki has hundreds of articles on everything, not just the ACI manifest, but also ACE, in bonds, every aspect of BorderConnect. There's an article for it. There's even some outside BorderConnect articles just about customs, compliance, other kind of stuff. But the wiki guide is number one, written, really shows you how to do everything you need to, from the very niche to the very general. As you can see here, some videos, and if you're watching this, you probably already know about the YouTube page, but honestly, the videos are even better than the wiki. Who doesn't love to follow along? Videos on how to create every kind of shipment type, how to do this, how to do that. The YouTube page is great. And then for our person-to-person support, phone, email, online chat, it is available 24/7. The online chat, you're always dealing with an actual person. There's no robot involved anytime throughout the entire conversation. So yeah, our support's always here 24/7, always happy to help. And the do-it-yourself resources, definitely I'd say the wiki and the YouTube are number one, and you're going to find a lot of information in there.
Great. So yeah, from videos to more detailed support articles, we've got it covered, looks like.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's go over the pricing. Egzon, how much does this cost? Are there different tiers depending on the volume of shipments that you do? So give us all the information you know about our pricing structure.
Yep. So basically, new carriers, once they sign up, they get a 30-day trial period. So you can use it for 30 days at no cost. You can do as many shipments as you like at no cost. After that, we will invoice carriers depending on their shipment volume. So when I say shipment volume, I'm talking about your parts, your PAPs, your different shipments. We went through all of the shipments. Every month, we'll calculate your total shipments and we'll invoice you accordingly. If you're under 40 shipments per month, it's free to use BorderConnect. Once you surpass 40 shipments, and the next plan is $89.95, and that's up to 75 shipments. I'm going to show you quickly our pricing here. Give me one moment. Okay, so as I explained, up to 40 shipments per month, free, no charge. Then after that is $89.95, up to 75, and it kind of goes up from there. So we'll invoice you just depending on your shipment volume. There isn't any hidden fees, no yearly fees, nothing like that. We don't charge for users, so you can have as many users as you want. You can have as many scat codes, carrier codes. The only thing we invoice you is your shipment volume. That's it. And as you can take a quick glance here, it goes up all the way up to the unlimited plan, which is 1,500 plus shipments at $924.95. So if you're a high volume carrier, you will be paying this. And our pricing is dynamic. Therefore, maybe 1 month you'll be paying $924. Then the next month, let's say you do 600 shipments, you'll be paying $499.95. So it can fluctuate with your shipment volume. And we feel that's the most fairest way to go about it. Just because just imagine paying $924.95 and you do 450 shipments. Whereas now here in the dynamic pricing, we will invoice you depending on your volume there.
Pretty straightforward.
Yep.
And definitely a huge boost to small owner operators that maybe don't have the volume of the large carriers. They could just use our software for free.
Yes, exactly. So basically,
and get access to the 24-hour support.
Yes. Yeah. So they have support, they have chat, you get everything that Justin went over, and the perks that we went over. And 30-day trial period, no obligation. So it's if you like it, you can continue. We hope, everybody stays. We provide a great solution here, and our support team is here 24/7. So yeah.
Yeah. And you mentioned dynamic, right? So
Yes.
I'm guessing the price you pay will be based on, you're not locked into a certain plan, right?
No,
it kind of
there's no
goes
lock-in.
with however shipments you process per month.
Exactly. There's no lock it in. It basically just depends on your volume. So one month, let's say you're under 40, you won't receive an invoice. The next month, let's say you pick up some extra shipments and you do 70 shipments, you'll pay 89.95. Then the next month of that, if you're under 40, it's free. So it kind of fluctuates with your shipment volume. Yes, yes.
Oh, that's great. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great. Because sometimes in logistics, especially cross-border logistics, if you're a driver or a small company, you might want to take a vacation,
Yeah.
and you don't want to be locked into that plan.
No.
But yeah, that's great. It's very helpful. It's basically hands-off pricing.
Yes, yes. And I mean, as you mentioned, we have a bunch of clients that are seasonal clients that, they usually work during, like, let's say the fall, and then they don't usually do much during the rest of the year. So yes, we try to make it as fair as possible when it comes to pricing. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Thanks, Egzon. And a big thanks to you, Justin, for your time and valuable information. And of course, for anyone that has questions or information maybe we didn't get to in this workshop, you can feel free to reach out to either Justin or Egzon via email at sales@borderconnect.com or by calling BorderConnect at 1-800-596-5176 at extension 4, where they'd be happy to help you Monday to Friday, 9 to 5 Eastern. Again, if you made it this far, we want to thank everyone for watching BorderConnect's virtual workshop on our ACI eManifest software. As we mentioned, most of the information covered in the workshop can be found on our website, our support wiki, and of course, our YouTube channel. And links to those will be found in the description below. And if you're watching this video from our YouTube channel, we'd like you to subscribe now for more videos like this, and we'll see you in our next BorderConnect virtual workshop, which I believe will be covering our ACE eManifest software. And just a reminder, if you're signing up to BorderConnect from this video, and as we mentioned earlier, you can enter a special promo code EASY45 for a free 45-day no obligation trial. Thanks again for watching, and we hope you all have a wonderful day. Hi, I hope you enjoyed this video and found it helpful. If you'd like to watch more videos like this, check out these videos here or subscribe below. If you're not already signed up to BorderConnect, you can sign up today for a free 45-day trial using special promo code EASY45. Thanks for watching.